The microwave oven did not begin in a kitchen. It began around radar. That is what makes the story so good. Because one of the most ordinary appliances in modern life did not begin as a plan to make cooking easier. It began as a strange side effect. In 1945, engineer Percy Spencer was working with magnetrons at Raytheon during radar-related research. Then something odd happened. A candy bar in his pocket melted. Accounts from the Smithsonian and other histories describe Spencer noticing food melting near an active magnetron during his radar work. Most people would have laughed, brushed it off, and gone back to work. He did not. That is where the story begins. Because the real turning point was not the melted candy bar. It was the question that came after it. Why? That question is much more powerful than it sounds. A lot of people notice strange little accidents. Very few stop long enough to investigate them. Spencer did. He began testing food around the magnetron. Popcorn was one of the first things tried. Then came an egg. And the egg, according to the standard retelling, exploded. Histories of the invention consistently describe Percy Spencer experimenting with popcorn and then an egg after noticing the heating effect of microwaves. That sounds funny, but this is exactly how some of the best product stories begin, not with a polished strategy deck, with curiosity. Because once Spencer understood that microwaves could heat food quickly, the whole situation changed. Now this was no longer a weird lab accident. Now it was a possibility. At that point, though, the future was still far away. That matters. Because people love to tell invention stories as if the product appears almost immediately after the eureka moment. Usually it does not. Usually the insight is only the first step. The harder part comes next. Can you control it? Can you contain it? Can you turn it into something repeatable and usable? Spencer did not stop at the experiments. He helped create an enclosed metal box that could safely contain microwave energy and heat food in a controlled way. Histories of the microwave oven describe him moving from the magnetron accident to a metal cooking cavity that made microwave heating practical. That is where the story becomes much more than a lucky accident. Because an accident is not a business. A controlled system can be, and this is one of the most important lessons in invention. A strange effect does not change the world just because it exists. It changes the world when somebody can package it into a form other people can actually use. That is a completely different challenge. The first version of that challenge was not elegant, not even close. Raytheon's first commercial microwave oven, the Raytheon, arrived in 1947. It was huge, expensive, and nowhere near the kind of appliance most people would casually want in their homes. Historical accounts describe early models as roughly 6 feet tall, extremely heavy, and far too costly for everyday household adoption. That detail matters, because it shows how far there still was to go. The product idea was real. The consumer product was not yet. And this is where a lot of inventions stall out. They work technically, but they are too large, too expensive, too awkward, or too early to fit daily life, so they stay trapped in the world of interesting technology. The microwave could have stayed there, a clever machine, a commercial curiosity, a niche device for institutions and specialists. But the story kept moving, because the deeper value was already obvious: speed. That was the real power, not just heating food, heating it fast. And once a product owns speed in a daily human activity, it becomes dangerous, because speed changes habits. What used to require waiting can now happen almost immediately. What used to belong to the stove or oven can now happen in minutes. That is much bigger than an appliance. That is a behavioral shift. That was the microwave oven's turning point. Not the candy bar by itself, not even the first machine. The real turning point was the moment a strange radar-side accident became a controlled system built around one very powerful promise: fast heat. That is why the story still works, because it reminds you that some of the most important products in the world do not begin with someone trying to build exactly that product. They begin when somebody notices something strange, takes it seriously, and asks the next question. That is what Percy Spencer did. He did not treat the melted candy bar as a joke. He treated it as evidence, and that difference changed the kitchen. The microwave oven did not become important because it was elegant at the beginning. It was not. It became important because the core advantage was too powerful to ignore: speed, convenience, a new rhythm for ordinary life. That was the microwave oven's turning point. Not a cooking plan, a radar accident that someone was smart enough not to dismiss,